Here we are with the Romascavage family.
That's right.
First of all, Dr. Frank Romascavage, but little did we know that it was actually a whole team family effort the entire time that he was working with the WWF. So, Dr. Frank, I'll let you introduce your family to us that helped you along this whole journey.
Listen, Andy, I want to thank you so much. I mean, the hospitality, you, and you're just phenomenal. You, Alex, your family, and all this and that. And I'll tell you what. You know what you should do? Give a plug for your company right now, will you? Before I give my intro of my family. Listen, this is my first podcast I've ever done, and you know what? It's a pleasure and honor to give it to you guys. Okay, because you know what, you're hardcore, you do great jobs, and you love the sport of wrestling, and you're very sincere about everything, and I love that's why Alex, Andy, that's why I'm so happy we're with you, and I say that sincerely. This is my wife Gloria, my daughter Stacy, and my son Frank. Okay. And they've all been a part of our success with wrestling, especially with WWF throughout the years. They've grown up as students. They're both all in school, and throughout the years, all the wrestler guys knew them, and they used to see them study, work, and do their whole 9 yards as kids, and keep good grades and all this and what have you amongst their studies. Now, and to this very day, okay, my daughter Stacy, she's an entrepreneur. She sells eggs. She makes clothes for sororities and fraternities across the United States of America, including over international borders. Okay, but Stacy's got Greek. She sells eggs. So she's working on this great eggnog concoction. Okay, which she's going to be promoting very shortly. So she's done very well. Very good student of the trade of being an entrepreneur, and she was always there as long as my wife and my son Frank, okay, where they did all the physicals. They helped me. They did the EKGs, they did the eye exams, and they went around the country, which the McMahon family helped us out, okay, to get the job done the right way. That's huge. My son Frank, over to the right, okay, he's a PhD in mathematics. Okay, he's a college professor in Philadelphia, and he's done quite well, and they've done quite well. Okay, and he's publishing a few books right now, so he's always been a part of how it is in mathematics, where he's developing the whole thing through Amazon on different criteria from the basic math skills all the way up to the high complexities of the science of mathematics. Okay. So that's very, very huge for him, okay? I'm proud to say, too, for him, okay? He was also for the NSA, right, Frank?
Yes.
NSA, okay? He's vying, he's still in the process there of filling certain criteria with the NSA right now in Maryland. So we're very proud of both of our kids. My wife and I, Gloria, very extremely proud of how they are, okay? But Andy, so this is how it is. Back in the day, wrestlers would come here. They'd spend a few days here. We'd put them up, have a great time, and they were always great. Wrestling fans are good. This place was ideally called the Farm. And throughout the years, we've had many pages of the wrestlers that stayed here. And, they were fine representatives of the company. First-class folks, every one of them.
So we have a bunch of excellent memorabilia back here, courtesy of the Doc. So, Doc, it looks like we have a Rad Radford.
Absolutely. So Rad Radford is, he's a lot of people don't remember Rad Radford, but Rad Radford has been my place many times, okay, throughout his young career. Rad, the shirt is a very symbolic shirt because Rad was, he only had basically 2 outfits when he first started with WWF. And what happened is he used to stay here all the time with all the other host of people throughout the years, as we call this place the Farm, for many years when the guys stayed here in the wild 90s and the early 2000 time era. So Rad, make a long story short, is he was goaded and urged by other guys, say, hey, give Romascavage something, give something. Well, mind you, 2 outfits, he gave us 50% of his outfits, all in one, and that's what that really meant a lot to us. And he was a new guy, and he wasn't one of the big recognized guys, but his name was Louis Spicoli, and Rad Radford was a first-class guy. Unfortunately, Rad did pass away, okay, and rest in peace. He was a first-class guy. But so we always keep our most famous memorabilia of guys from the onset of how it started with the WWF right here in our hallway here in the office that we're at right now near my private office. But he was a first class guy. And
so another piece I saw here was the Doink the Clown.
Right.
So which because I know there's been different Doinks. Which Doink was this, and how did you come to?
Well, Andy, I'll tell you something. This is the second Doink. His name is Ray Lycomelli. Ray's a good friend of mine. Okay, he comes in here medically every now and then. First class guy, and he gave me that as a symbol of our good friendship or whatever. And you can notice he signed that off too. So Raymond's first class guy, and he was a whoopee cushion was his big move, and he did that, and a fan favorite, and he was always very, very nice to the fans. Okay, Ray's I don't think he's doing any more wrestling now, but he was at that time period in his lifetime. He did a great job. That was his big symbol to us.
And then you got the heavenly bodies over here. Now, which heavenly body was this?
Well, well, listen. I always have my kids here, Frank and Stacy. Okay, and my wife Gloria, because back in the heyday when I was the doctor at WWF, that we used to travel all over the United States. Okay, they would take us all over, and we would do all the physicals on them and all the guys. So it was always a fearsome foursome type approach. And what happened is the fact that Frank, you remember like heavenly bodies? That was who was that? That was Tom that was here, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tom Pritchard.
Yeah, Tommy Pritchard was here.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Tom's a good friend. He's always been sincere. And David, the other gentleman that was here too, he was first class guy too. Two good guys, first class guys, both of them.
Yeah. And then I would say probably the highlight here is this 1, 2, 3 kid.
Absolutely.
Right here.
1, 2, 3 kid the 1, 2, 3 kid was Sean Waldman. Okay, Sean Waldman. First class guy, and he was the kid because he always came out as a kid. He was well, Frank, you remember when did he first start in that? When did he start out with the
17, yeah. Like
in 17.
In 1992.
Yeah, in 1992.
Yeah.
That's when he first started with WWF.
Legendary victory over
Absolutely. And Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. That was the kid, Sean Waldman. First class guy. But he gave us that outfit as a symbol of his gratitude, as our friendship. And that's the one thing I always like to tell people. People say, and we're going to look at a lot of different outfits and pieces. People always ask me, how do I get these outfits? Friendships, symbolism of just good friendships throughout the years.
Because they just give them to you because of all the work you did for them.
Yeah, dedication, true friendships, and that's how it was. And a lot of these guys were here. And like I said before, we always called this place the farm. And if you talk to the guys back in the day, they say, oh, we spent time here at the farm. That's where it is right here. Because here we have it, here's my office, our house, the whole 9 yards here. We have a big complex in the back there where we have animals and, the woods. And we've always had phenomenal parties throughout, which includes outdoor wrestling shows and the whole events. And guess what happened? That a lot of these guys came here and they would stay here for days, like a couple days, because this was the focal point, like in New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, Wilkes-Barre, and they would stay here. And it was very common to have, say, 5, 6, 7 guys spend a few nights here in a row and have a great time. And they would always come out and see the patients. And I always just tell them, I said, listen, when you stay here, you got to come out and see the patients. And they all did. And the one guy, the next thing is Davey Smith and Owen Hart. Those guys would always come out here and console the patients and whatever. And we'd be so wild and crazy that everybody would be sick. And the best medicine for them was to meet these wrestlers. And that's what happened. It was that good. And they were always first class about it.
So now here are some of probably my personal favorites here. We have Owen Hart memorabilia, and we also have Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog. So kind of what was your relationship with them? How did you come across these? Is this another where they gave this to you because of the...
Well, Andy, let me tell you something. Owen Hart, if I had to pick one wrestler that was our favorite as from our Romascavage family, would be Owen Hart. Owen Hart was here at least maybe 100 different times, where we spent at least one night. Owen Hart was a great friend. I mean, he was a great family man, 2 great kids, great wife. We've been to his house up there, also up in Calgary. But first class, phenomenal guy. Great guy, loved the fans, great to the fans, and he never would shy a fan off. And his relation is Davey Smith, Davey Boy Smith. Davey was always a nice guy too. Not as robust and as outgoing as Owen was, but a nice guy. Wouldn't hurt a fly. Real good guy. I love and I'll tell you something. These guys were true to their sport of wrestling. They loved wrestling, and they were very, very appreciative of being where they were in life. 2 good guys.
So now behind us, we have quite an eclectic mix of memorabilia here, because it looks like we have some Bret the Hitman Hart stuff. We also have some Sabu trunks right here. We got another piece of Owen Hart memorabilia, but then tucked up here is a set of Undertaker gloves. So I don't know which one you want to start with, but maybe talk a little bit about Bret Hart, because Bret Hart was very focal, especially when you were working with the WWF at that point. He was like the main champion, kind of ushering in all that. So just maybe your relationship with Bret and.
Well, Andy, I appreciate that. Bret Hart, okay, is Owen's brother, as we well know, and he's related to Davey Smith. Okay, they're all family related. Bret Hart was always a first class guy too. Symbol of the sport. Good. Nice to the fans. He's not a very, should I say, verbose type of guy. Very nice, small temper type of fellow. Okay, but he delivered, and he had that fan appeal that everybody liked. And you can see here he gave me his outfit where he signed it off like the other guys did, and you can see there his shorts, whatever. Here's his glasses up there on top, and there's his top jersey right there. So he, a great symbol and great guy. And I haven't talked to him. I talked to him about a year ago. He's doing fine. Yeah, he's always a first class fellow.
Now, when you said Sabu's trunks were here, that got me curious, because you'd said you worked for WWF, but I don't think Sabu worked for WWF at that point. So how did you come across paths with Sabu?
Well, Andy, it's a very funny story. Okay, the wrestling industry is such a small, finite type industry. Okay, I used to work for ECW. I've also worked for WCW back in the day, and whatever. Okay, and to make a long story short is Terry Sabu was here one night, and it was one of those off-hour type things where we were at an event. Needed a place to stay, and we put him up here, stayed here, whatever. And as appreciation, he gave us a pair of his pants, which was a nice symbol of him. First class guy, hardcore as the day is long, but he delivers and he gets it done. That's how good he is.
Now, just for my curiosity, also, because I kind of grew up watching all these guys. The Undertaker. What was the Undertaker like?
Well, let me tell you something. The Undertaker is the Undertaker. There's nobody else like him except for him. I mean, he has such, I look back at him, think of like Paul Bearer when Paul was with us. Paul's in heaven, rest in peace, my brother. But Paul Bearer was another class act too. When they were that combination. But even after he passed, okay, Undertaker still was as great as he was. Okay, always nice guy, very nebulous type of character, but a very sincere person. Excellent wrestler, and people loved him. His presence was that good, as we all know.
Hello, I'm Fast Freddy, and I used to be a referee. I noticed here Earl Hebner has a signed referee outfit here. Doc, how did you come across meeting him?
Well, Earl Hebner and his brother Dave Hebner are two class guys. Okay, I've known them through his being with WWF, and Earl acknowledged our friendship as well as Dave did over there. And you can see over to the far right there, you'll see a outfit from Dave Hebner, and. Both legendary type guys. Both good family guys to bet.
And also my personal favorite, all-time favorite of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who doesn't love a nice Steezweiser or stun your boss and completely get away with it? How did you come across meeting Stone Cold?
Well, Stone Cold, I met him also in WWF. When I was at WWF, and I was in SummerSlam with Steve in New Jersey when that famous incident when Owen Hart won. And him and Owen Hart were in that same match there, okay? And that match there where Steve hurt his neck, okay? And I went to the hospital with Steve that night, helped get him all checked out the right way to make sure everything went good. And it all worked out well. Steve did well. We formed a nice friendship there right after I helped him out medically to make sure he was okay. And he's always been first class. But Steve, as you look at him, Steve in real life, nice guy. Okay, but he's a lot like he's on TV. Very similar.
I know these need no introduction. The Brahma Bull, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. How did you come across meeting him?
Dwayne Johnson, we knew Dwayne back in the day. Okay, you can see two of his outfits right there that Dwayne signed him off to us as being a member of WWF. We were very, very lucky to know Dwayne when nobody knew him. I mean, relatively didn't know him. Dwayne, but we always did. We always addressed everybody with proper respect, identification, and we always talked to him. How do I know that story is true? Because he told us. He said, "I was always tight with you guys later because when I became the big guy, the biggest thing out there, which he is and did, he never forgot who his friends were when he was starting off." And he was first class. He's always been first class. He always treats our kids. My wife always fine. And he sends, and by the way, just as a little footnote, he sends me always copies of movie posters that he's doing right now. And he signs them off. And that's the next podcast we'll do. Okay, you know what? You know what I mean? Well, that'd be the next.
Could be a two-parter.
Yeah, we can do that too. But all the posters that Dwayne has sent us. And always continued success to him, man. First class guy. All the way down. And the one in the middle there, you see that right there? There's Bill Goldberg. Everybody knows who Goldberg is. Okay, I got to know Bill through WWF. He was always usually through WCW. But then when it was the companies merged, Bill Goldberg came out and it worked out really well. Okay, he was a nice guy, first class guy. And he was extremely popular with the fans, as we all know.
All right,
Good.
so now there's another hallway of more wrestling goodies here. But the first one we're starting off with is quite a unique piece, I would say. It's somebody that you don't hear a whole lot about anymore, and that's Duke the Dumpster Droese. So what was he like? How did you come across this?
Well, I'll tell you, Andy. Duke the Dumpster Droese. You can see here's the outfit they gave us. Oh, okay, with WWF. Duke the Dumpster, class act. He always came out with that dumpster. Not a dumpster in the background, but he always came with the trash can. And the thing is with him is he that was his grade, and he had the music that went with it, and he had the appropriate attire to match it. And guess what happened? Fans loved it. Oh, yeah. He did well with it. He did very well. Yep. And I saw him about less than a year ago at an independent event, and he's doing fine. He's looking good, and he's looking strong and in good shape. But he's doing good, absolutely.
All right, so then let's see. Oh, there's so much to choose from here. Well, I guess we'll start right here with something that's also kind of unique. It's one of those, sort of not talked about a whole lot gimmicks, and that's the Portuguese man of war, Aldo Montoya, better known sometimes as Just Incredible. So how did you come across this Aldo Montoya?
Andy, Aldo Montoya, I remember him when he first broke in with WWF. Okay, Just Incredible, as whatever. But as Aldo Montoya, he gave us that. Okay, shortly after we got to know him, and he's always been like steps up, loves the profession, nice to the fans, and in appreciation for our friendship, he gave us that, and there it is on the wall. You can see it right there. Yeah.
And then moving over here, it looks like we have the Orton family. It looks like we have something from Cowboy Bob.
That's right.
And then we have Randy Orton, which it looks like those are Randy Orton trunks from when he first started. Right?
That's right. Randy Orton, another class act guy, a military guy. I'm 100% pro-military. I love the military guys. Okay, but there's his dad, class act, and there's his son's shorts up above. And so we put the two together as a nice symbol to the Orton family.